Well, my friends, I'm reckon this is your seat at the table, and this here would be, if I can get it to come up. There we go. Little Missy. Yep. Oop. Yeah, what you want? You don't know what you want. Well, they don't want to see that. All right. That there would be Little Missy. She is in the cage off to my right, and behaving herself right now. As you can see, if I didn't have her in the cat carrier, and that's what it is, she would literally be up here on the damn table in the middle of everything, and I wouldn't get nothing accomplished. That's okay, Little Missy. Little Missy had an adventure this week. Thursday, she went to the ARL, and they have this called the Trap Neuter Release Program for the strays. And so we took her up there, and we got her spayed and got her shots. She's only about 7 pounds, they said, and they don't think she's not quite a year old or coming up on a year, a little over. And there's a lot of difference, and we get some special needs cats occasionally, which is kind of the nature of the business. But in her case, I suspect she's a late winter kitten and lost her mama through the winter sometime or early spring, because she really has no survival skills all that much. She was damn near starved to death, and she didn't seem to have the ability or the desire to chase birds and mice and rabbits and all the other stuff that all the other outdoor stray cats will go after on a drop of a hat. And she was just really intent on coming into people's houses and getting people attention. So I think that maybe she may have come out of somebody's house early in the spring. The downside here is in this neighborhood is there's a number of rental properties that have high turnover. A lot of people come and go, and it's not impossible, but that could very well happen. So now that she's calmer than she was the week before, and she's still so tiny and skinny. We're debating exactly whether to turn her loose with the colony outside or just let her, if she can get along with the inside cats, and leave her inside. She's young enough that health should not be a problem. I just don't want no fighting and stuff. So like right now, Mr. Doofus is now checking out. He just figured out he could come in and say hi, Little Missy. So there, Mr. Doofus. Okay, yeah, see? First time you got to see each other and you didn't care for each other. Yeah, well, I better get Mr. Doofus back outside that door. Come on, Fluffer. Get out that door. She told you. It's alright, Missy. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, was that a big Doofus? Was that a big Doofus? Was that a big Doofus? Oh. Yeah, is that a big Doofus? Yeah, you're okay. He was just coming over to say hi to you. Yeah, you just didn't like him right up there in your face. Well, in part, that's part of having to introduce y'all to Miss Fluffy or Doofus, depending on how you want to address him. He is one of those cats that came from Emily's house next door a couple years ago. She basically let him out to run outside all the time. He came and went, and then moved in over here, and then Brenda, she's a lot less inclined to let him out. We let him out for a couple hours this morning, and as soon as she turned around, he's across the street, and we don't want him crossing the street, so the streets get busy up here. And so she went out and got him and brought him back in the house. That's the way it goes. He'll live longer this way. Him and Sissy, right? So he's the only male in the house, and and he's fixed anyway. They're all fixed, so that's not a problem. Anyhow, so we're looking at another installment of BattleTechnology. Of course, this is a PDF version because my originals are gone. Like I said, I only have only one of my originals remain, which is kind of really sad. So this would be June of 3028, issue 0203. So this is either second run, third issue, or issue 3. I'm never quite 100% sure when it comes to some of this stuff, because they changed their system a couple times. So in here we have BattleTechnology News, The Celestial Wisdom, an interview with Maximilian Liao. My slurring a little bit is because I don't have my teeth in this morning. The Leo Edge on Solaris. home field advantage. Not slurring. What is that? Kind of a no, going on there. Howl, the Northwind, Captain Ian Fraser. And then we have hiring Hall of 2nd Kearny Highlanders from the Northwind Highlanders, the Worldbook of Mira, BattleTac, BattleTips, Man's Bluff, BattleMechanics, Technical Readout, Battleax, BTX-7K, Technical Readout, Predator Tank Destroyer, Battle Colors, Urban Camouflage, letters to the editor. Like I said, I really liked these when they came out because they really added such another layer of an already well-layered game system, and it helped to bring together and tie in the various franchises and various entities that were BattleTech and MechWarrior at that time. We also didn't have a lot of internet access. A lot of players were just getting into the internet age, and so forums were the thing. They're nothing like what we have today. I mean, stuff today is, a lot of stuff that we wrote and taught and typed and shared and talked about back in the day, they're long gone. So unless you personally kept copies of your stuff, which most people don't do. So we have peace in our times. By now, the population of most worlds in the intersphere must know about the upcoming marriage between Hans Davion, first prince, blah blah blah. Yeah, so coming in there, Liao Makers reveal systems problems. The Lyra and Gila had underway. Wedding preparations on Earth. Friction along the Corita frontier. First Crucius Lancers arrive on Mira for celebrations. Yeah, this was an excuse they used to, the Federated Suns used to concentrate all of the Crucius Lancers together in one large entity. It's rare. It's rare in BattleTech history where you actually see entire, what you might consider or not divisions, but battle groups or armies, literally. So in some aspects, that this would be the Crucius Lancers division, because you brought all of the individual regiments and their support regiments together into one massive force. And we know where that one ends up going. You don't do that without having a plan for it, that's for damn sure. So, Wolf Dragoons, the Battle Draconin regulars. Candid camera captures Cataract. First images of the CTF-1X Cataract heavy mech being produced by the compelling Confederation. For up until this era, this is the reintroduction of heavy battle mechs to their industrial range. For a long time, they were really short on heavy mechs and assault mechs specifically. So they had to make do with what they could capture and purchase from their opponents, and so on and so forth. So, BattleTechnology Core Pundits, Special Core Pundit killed, I'm just butchering this. 2nd Kearny Highlanders, and we got our unit history. See, this is the sort of stuff when I lament every now and then. I go on a tear because I got yet another one of these mercenary source books coming up to gripe about. But when I talk about how I would like to see formats for units in general, this is a great example. And I think personally that there's a lot of good solid house units, for example, get short shifted because they're not mercenaries. They don't have that glamour of being mercenaries for some anal reason. They're just considered line troops, and in a way I guess they are, but they don't get nearly enough spotlight on them as a entity, in my opinion, and I would like to see more of that. And this is a great example of a layout for it. Then we got Mira, the misty outpost of the Federated Suns. Man's Bluff. Nice story here. Let's see. And I'm sure it's at the back. So, said we spotted an enemy battle. Right. And right. And I was trying to find out who wrote it, but I don't see. I'd have to go back up to the front credits, I'm guessing, to find out who actually wrote it. It's hard to say because some of the stock writing comes from in-house writers of the time. a lot of them still work for the company. I mean, are still members of it. So we got Maximilian and Liao, the Chancellor of the Compelling Confederation, Celestial Wisdom. Space Gamer Fantasy Game. Oh, excuse me. Leo Edge, the Leo Edge on Solaris, the home field advantage. All right. Yeah. Why bet on machines instead of men? Debate has raged back and forth over the subject of setting matches between machines instead of their pilots. Originally it's allowed because nobles were scrambling desperately, but put pilots inside their machines. Alright, alright. I just wondered on something else. And so we get the factors, the jungle, the factory, the arena, prime venues on the Solaris, the game world. Didn't the clans basically destroy Solaris, and then the Wobbies did a damn good job of wrecking what was left? I wonder what kind of condition it is in nowadays. Alright. I think this is coming out because Kai Allard Liao was starting to perform on Solaris after he was run out of the Federated Suns, basically, on purpose. Yes. Deep Cover, Howl of the Northwind by Captain Ian Fraser. Now, these are good stories. I've read them a couple times over the years, and they're always nice, and you go back and you can get a little bit of a corner view of one component of a very small portion of what is the inner sphere and the periphery. Right? So here we got the Battleax. So ring year of 2513. So when you go back to some of the TROs, and in recent decades, when they talk about, historically speaking, the Black Pants League, for example, Tex has got a great video, all their videos they're kick-ass, don't get me wrong. He's got a couple of videos where they refer to the history of, BattleTechnology. And I'm thinking the Warhammer, their entry on the Warhammer specifically. And in that entry, there's this short section where they talk about the mechs that preceded the Warhammer. Why the Warhammer became what it became, and why it was considered an acceptable mech, and what was before it, and what led up to it. And there was a part of a line of mechs, and one of them was the Battleax, and that's what this one here was being introduced. So when they talk about what is canon, what isn't canon, well, there's arguments up and down the net about BattleTechnology being, quote, non-canon, when the truth is the lion's share of the material in it is supporting canon without a question. So if it may not be a non-canon source, but it's a prelude to canon, and or a support of a non-canonical supporting support of the canon. So in this case, a lot of mechs that, these are new designs, bullshit. A lot of these designs predate. This is where they got the idea for the damn Battleax in the first place, was from BattleTechnology. And perhaps it's anything that might have been preceding this where it showed up, but I don't recall any. So here's a Predator tank destroyer. Oh, excuse me. Yep, AC-20, 5 rounds. Definitely not something you want to keep too far from your supply line. Urban camouflage, right? From the inside out, BattleMech internal structures. The internal structure, starting with Wolf, the final analyst, maximum armor distribution, internal. So somebody goes, well, why can't we just put more armor on my Shadowhawk? My Shadowhawk, Well, sure, we can up armor it all day long. We can actually exceed the manufacturer's specs for a lot of things. But doing so accumulates problems and should accumulate quirks. So if you have a player who absolutely insists on up armoring a vehicle or a mech or somehow upgrading, there's a great example of that from the Warriors. Oh, excuse me, the Warriors series, where once again Allard Liao's on Solaris, and he needs some kind of edge. He needs something that's going to really give him the edge in the arena, especially since he's coming up from nowhere. So he swaps out the autocannon in his mech for a Pontiac AC-20. So he's basically doubled down on the firepower, and in doing so, I believe he removed one or two other medium lasers or something like that. He had to free up tonnage space to mount that weapon. So now this weapon gives this mech an edge because it's no longer considered stock or normal for its category, and so instead it gets a whole lot of firepower in a very brief window. It sacrifices long-term firepower and medium range support to do so, and this to me initiates a quirk. So the quirk being is, and they showcase it very nicely in the novel, because in the novel, at a critical moment while he's in the arena, he's being hunted by some foes that are much more superiorly numbers. They have more numbers than he does, and his weapon jams. So at that point, his autocannon becomes basically a club. It's no longer functioning. And his only real weapon left is a single weapon that fires in a single medium or small laser that fires to the rear, and the carbonated nails that he had welded to the mech's fingers to give himself a melee weapon. So that's where he ended up resorting to, was the use of the melee weapon. He even goes so far as to jettison his ammo. He realizes that his weapon is now useless, and then there's no point in carrying a ready-made weapon of mass destruction inside of his own torso. So he chucks the stuff out. So the same idea is that there are limits and there's reasons for the limits. And if you exceed the limits weight-wise, the vehicle becomes far less mobile. It starts becoming slower and slower, and it makes it much more of a liability and a better target for its opponents. And while you can up armor something, there's always something in a higher class that's going to trump it, or damn near always. So the NASA's training simulations. So some nice training simulations for you to run your guys through. If you're just looking for a fun afternoon, fog of war, devils in the mist. Last stand of the Kearny Highlanders, Howl of the Northwind. Jungle Strike, that's a Highlander riposte. More Than Warriors, Fox Twilight Fire. The Kearny Limit by David McNeil. Letters to the editors. Vernon C. Spranger, Mech Tech Sergeant First. P.S. Can you please send me another copy of BattleTechnology issue 202? My original copy is now somewhat worse for wear. Yeah, there was a time where you could actually order and get, if they had a surplus, you could order and buy extra. Right? So we got one ads. Dispossessed warrior with command experience seeks employment, combat, security, and other paramilitary capabilities. Anything legal, no Liao inquiries, please. Wanted any information on location and conditions of survivors of Second Kearny. Wanted any information on the whereabouts of Vincent St. Andrews. Unit reunion. All present past Kellhounds request to report to Arkwell. Purpose of a reunion. The Colonel has returned. So coming up next in their action-packed issue of BattleTechnology is Peace in Our Times. Wedding of Emperor Prince. I think I already did the video on that one. All right, there you go. So there is issue 0202. What exactly issue that is in the hierarchy, I am not 100% sure. All right, there you go. Till next time. I think these buttons are... Come on. Okay, I don't know why my ending's down. That'll work. That'll work. No, it won't. What the hell's going on?